Big Lez's League, an all rugby league experience.
Hello and welcome back to episode 3 of the Scrum. Episode 3 already, I know it's gone quite quick. I'm with professional punter Aaron Macey and ex-footballer Darcy Lussick. Guys, how are we?
How are we, Big Ed?
Yeah, not too bad.
You got a multi-home?
Well, I told everyone it was an absolute banker.
You said take the missus out?
Take the missus out. So.
Or did you go out and the missus
I actually, my missus went out without me. She's sick of me.
Did you tell her you got the multi-arm?
No, I didn't tell her. I had a little bit on it.
Yeah. Ouch. Fair enough. Let's get into some of the key takeaways from last week. There's obviously been a few injuries. I've got them all here on the back page. There's about 21 of them, but I've summed it down to what Bloke and Abard posted on his page. Mitchell Moses, foot fracture 8 weeks. Reece Walsh, face fracture 4 to 6 weeks. Cleary, hamstring obviously out for 2 to 4 weeks as well. There are some massive injuries.
Should have named the players that didn't get injured. Fuckers. Like, honestly, it's a massive list.
Probably be a shorter list, yeah, totally. Like 21 players I think there is now injured. And I think by round 5 or 6 last year, we had about 75 players injured. But I think it wasn't really put into the media much because they were lesser players. They weren't your Nathan Clearys or your Reece Walshes like we've got here
Mitchell
injured.
Moses,
but you've got some massive players out. It's going to really make it hard for us to tip, I'll tell you that for free.
Yeah, scary round.
Yeah.
When you see my whopping multi that amounts to $2.92, you'll see why.
Yeah, exactly. It's so hard to bet this week. It is not funny. I've been scared to put the tips on, that's for sure. A big one as well for the Gold Coast Titans. We'll just touch on it before we get straight into the tips for this week. Tino ACL. Hectic for their season. Like, I'd even go spoon areas for them this year.
You can write them off, I reckon.
Well, I think a lot of people were already kind of banking on it. They copped a lot of injuries early, and all their best players are dropping off.
I mean, AJ ran for 49 metres. He's their best player. For one of your best players in the centres to be running 49 metres, not getting much ball.
They sort of always look to Tino to sort of get them out, isn't he? He's like the alpha of the team. He's the one that gets them on the front foot. He's the toughest. I rate him. I reckon he's outstanding. But that's a massive loss. Like, who's going to step up for him now?
Exactly.
You got Fafita coming back, but he doesn't do anything like.
But not only for club, for Origin, for Australia, it is a huge blow. Lucky that I'm a New South Wales fan, that's for sure. Fucking hell. It's a massive loss for Queensland, but
you should be happy it keeps South off the bottom of the ladder.
It sure does, that's true. At least we have someone under us. Fuck me. Round 4, let's get straight into the tips. Roosters taking on the Penrith Panthers. The line is 4.5. The Roosters are 64% at home, which is at Allianz Stadium. Panthers 45% at the venue. Obviously Panthers without Nathan Cleary, and Roosters getting Luke Keary back into this side. What are we thinking here?
Well, fuck, they were super impressive, albeit against the South side that's not looking very good at all. I still find this is a tricky game now that the lines move so much. Pre-team list, I think the Roosters were getting 4.5 start. It's now a flat 4 that they're giving. The Panthers showed last year that they can play without Cleary, but they are missing some of their key forwards. And look, I think Roosters are full of confidence. I'm going to lean with East. I'm not super confident. I think if they start as well as they did against South, I think starting for them is a really big thing, and then they play with confidence. I love seeing Teddy starting to straighten up, and he's starting to play with the ball in 2 hands. Some of those cutout balls he threw on the weekend were phenomenal.
Yeah.
Lindsay Collins, big loss.
Yeah, massive loss for them through the middle. They're going to lose a bit of go forward. They've obviously got Spencer Leniu already out this year as well. I mean, their forward pack is taking hits, but they've got Nafau White. They've got Egan Butcher coming in this week who have killed it. Terrell May, obviously still in the side. There was a bit of concern around him with a calf injury, but it looks like he's good to go.
He looks good. Look, I'm sticking with the Roosters. What are you doing, Darth?
I'm going to go the Roosters. Obviously, Cleary's out's big, but I feel like the Panthers are a team that someone drops out, someone comes in and steps right up. But
they seem to have turned into the Melbourne of like 6 years ago, where it didn't really matter if someone was out. You put that jersey on. So the Queenslanders, you put on that jersey, you do your job, and
they're
they
so
just
consistent.
March on.
So, look, the Roosters have burnt me many times, but I'm going to go with the Roosters at home.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go Roosters at home as well. Don't underestimate The halfback, though, for the Penrith Panthers, Brad Schneider, obviously had a few games for the Canberra Raiders, went over to the Super League and was one of the best halves in the competition over there in England as well. Great footballer, great direction. His kicking game's outstanding. I think he kicked a winning field goal in a game in his first game in the Super League.
Yeah, he went good over there at Hull. He went good.
Yeah, I rate him highly. I think that he'll do really well standing in for the Panthers. And the thing is, when Nathan Cleary's out, whether it been Sean O'Sullivan, whether it been, hopefully Brad Schneider, these halfbacks, they seem to come in and still do a job, and it doesn't really look out of place. Everything looks like it's going exactly how it's supposed to be going.
I'm hoping that the difference is that Fisher Harris isn't there, and I think the halfbacks in the past have got to step in behind those two big starting front rowers, and they're not getting that this week. So let's hope.
Yeah, let's hope. I'm going to go the Roosters as well. I think that at home they're probably going to get the job done again, and they look, as you guys said, really consistent as well. Rabbitohs versus the Bulldogs. The line is 6.5. For the wins at this venue, the Rabbitohs are 57%, the Bulldogs 53%, and that's at Rabbitohs home at ANZ. What are we thinking?
Well, I can't back the Rabbitohs after what I've seen of them so far. I think they've been really ordinary. The thing is, these teams that are under a lot of pressure, I think there's a lot of pressure on the coach now at the moment. They're getting hammered in the media. So how do they respond? I think the pressure was on them last week and they didn't respond at all. Whereas the Bulldogs, they had a good win last week. They've sort of been threatening to sort of put it together, the Bulldogs, and I thought the effort was great last week. I'm actually surprised that they're probably not the favourites here. And we just had a Bulldogs legend on our other podcast before the show of No Name, Rennie Matua, so he's still in the building. So I'm going to have to go the Bulldogs for Rennie.
Well, mate, I'm in the exact same boat. I was actually impressed with the way they actually played with that Bulldog spirit, that real grunty, cunty football that they can play. I thought, mate, they look like a football team, and that's the opposite of what I can say about South at the moment. Their forwards aren't going forward. Mate, you got some little backs out on the wings. That's a lot for Latrell to do, who doesn't like doing the work out of his own half. Mate, we've got to see a massive turnaround. And I think if the Bulldogs get into the fight with them early, mate, they'll be in a long way. So I think 6.5 start for them. I'm there.
Yeah, well, Cody Walker as well for the Rabbitohs. In the past 2 weeks, he's had 6 handling errors, which is just not what you want to see from Cody. South Sydney, they do look a bit disorganised. I think it's got to be a must-win game for them, though. Yes, there's obviously injury concern around Cam Murray as well with his knee. Jack Whiten's also got knee issues, and he's a bit 50-50 going into this weekend. Not 50-50 Jerome Hughes 50-50, but actually 50-50. But I think it is a must-win game for them. I'm going to go the Rabbitohs. It's the first time I've tipped my team all year, and hopefully I'm right. And it's good omen for you blokes for my tipping record as well. So, I'm going to go the Rabbitohs. Broncos and Cowboys, the line is 1.5. Wins at this venue at Suncorp, the Broncos are 59%. The Cowboys are 43%. What are we going here?
This is a real tricky game. I think Reynolds, what's the likelihood of Reynolds playing?
He should be okay.
He should be okay.
Yeah.
Look, Reynolds stays on the field. I think he can direct them. The thing with the Cowboys at the moment, they've been starting slow and coming home fast. I think if this Broncos side can get a good lead, I think with Reynolds back, he can hopefully kick the corners and wind this game down, control the game. It's a game, once again, don't have a lot of confidence. Reece Walsh being out's got to be an absolute monster loss. He's probably been one of the form players of the whole comp.
But Walsh and Payne Haas as well, obviously has knee surgery. He's going to be out for 6 weeks, which is absolutely devastating for the Broncos. And I noticed watching them last week, their go forward, it's a lot of pressure on Paddy Carrigan through that middle. Corey Jensen and some of the other guys on that side did stand up, but you just found that there was a lot of pressure on on Patrick Carrigan to perform. I think that the Cowboys, just looking at how they're playing at the moment, they're obviously the only side to be undefeated going into this game as well. I just like how they're looking at the moment. I'm liking how Scotty Drinkwater, Tom Did, and these guys are looking down the left. Chad Townsend, his kicking game's been really good as well. And then
he sounds very confident, doesn't he?
Cotter as well. I honestly think, I don't know if I'd even call it an upset. Obviously, the line's in the Cowboys' favour as well. I'm going the Cowboys. Darcy?
Yeah, I'm going to go the Cowboys as well. I thought sort of been drifting in and out of games, but when they're on, I think you look at some of the names in their team, they're really good. Payne Haas, there's a lot of go forward without him there. Reece Walsh creates a lot of opportunities. And so I'm going to go the Cowboys. I'm liking the halves at the Cowboys at the moment. Tommy did, and he sort of reminded me of like a Cherry Evans, like young Cherry Evans. He's just on the ball all the time. His effort areas are great. So yeah, I'm going to go the Cowboys, and I actually think they're going to win quite comfortably.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I think they can definitely run away with this game. I would watch Tristan Saylor though at fullback for the Broncos.
Yeah.
He is an absolute weapon. His ball playing, kicking game as well. He looks really good, and in Q Cup, I think he's been playing quite well too. Obviously, was going to get offloaded to the Super League, and then the Broncos kept him on for another few years. Definitely one to watch. Dragons and Seagulls. I think we know how this game is going to go. The line is 8.5. Wins at home for the Dragons. They are 61%. Funnily enough, Seagulls at Dragons home 18%.
Yeah, it's a interesting stat. Let's start with you, Dars.
Start with me. Okay. Seagulls. I think they're playing well at the moment. That game against the Eels on the weekend, that was like semi-final intensity.
Yeah.
And to be honest, with that poor core, with the obstruction, they probably win that game. So Dragons, like they had so much potential that round one, and then ever since they've been really disappointing. So I think the Seagulls quite comfortably.
Yeah, Mace?
Yeah, I think Dragons are one of those sides that they're probably going to match up against some of the lower sides, and I think they will go for about 50 to 60 minutes with some of the good sides.
Yeah.
And then those championship rounds kick in that last 20 minutes and they just drop their heads. Like Tyrell Sloan's probably one of the shining lights aside from Ben Hunt. I reckon this Sea Eagles side's a really good side. I really like it. It was a really close game. The game against Para had everything. It started with tries. I love the arm wrestle in the middle. I thought both teams' arm wrestled really good. Yeah, there was maybe some 50-50 calls. I think they're in a different league to the Dragons, and I think they should win, and they should win comfortably.
And we talked a lot about it last week. Tommy Turbo looking really comfortable in that one jersey again, slowly improving every single week. Luke Brooks is phenomenal.
He's the signing of the season for me so far.
I reckon it was always going to happen. Like, Seagulls were crying out for a 5'8". Like, they were crying out for a 5'8". Schuster wasn't the answer there.
Looks about as fit as you, they reckon.
Wish I was on the same pay packet. Seagulls, I forgot what I was saying now, so move on.
Just with the Seagulls, Brooksy, he looks outstanding.
Oh, yeah, Brooksy.
Yeah, his running game as well.
Just threw him.
Fuck it up.
Sorry, mate.
All good. We digress. But the forward pack as well is another thing, and that's how Brooksy gets most of his go forward. Mount Paseka, Josh Alaye, their defence and their attack.
I think the only thing I love the Seagulls. I'm Seagulls through and through. The only thing I can sort of pick on them at the moment is their bench. They sort of need a little bit more out of their bench. I think. I thought their starting pack started real well. They really mashed it with Para on the weekend, and they sort of lost a little bit when their bench came on. But in saying that, they had Junior Paula coming off the bench, and he's
been
a handful.
Isn't it crazy how Manly are going to get Matt Lodge and Toe Sipley back in the next few weeks?
Yeah, well, that.
And that's that bench problem.
Yeah.
They've still got players to come back, and I think it's a bright light for them, and I think they're lucky that they get to play the Dragons this week.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be a 13-plus type scoreline, even though the stat is 18% at that ground. I think this is a different Manly side, and I think they get a pretty convincing win over a Dragons side who we just don't know what to say about them. We don't know how to pick them at this point of the season. So, yeah, Seagulls 13-plus for me. Titans and Dolphins, the line is 2.5. Wins at the venue at home, the Titans win 44%. The Dolphins have won 100% of games at Titans home. There's only been one game, so it makes it pretty easy to get that stat line. What are your thoughts on this one, Das? We'll start with you again.
I'm struggling to get excited about this game, but
words out of my mouth. Can't wait to watch this.
But look, I think the Titans, their form's has not been good. Tino out. Whereas Dolphins, I think they had the bye they had a good win in the bye, so they'll be freshened up. I think the Dolphins will win quite comfortably. So the line for 2.5, I reckon that should be maybe 8.5.
Oh, wow.
So
Look at you, Darcy the handicapper. This is good.
Mace, what about you?
Watch it go the other way now.
No. I get it's very scary because I wanted to bag the Dolphins all year, but they were impressive 2 weeks ago, and I think the Dolphins will be a team that can be impressive against once again low sides, and will probably battle against the top ones. They're playing against a diminished Titan side. I do agree. with that. I thought the line would be a lot more.
Yep.
I think the Dolphins will win and should win.
Well, their halves pairing is sorted. Their forward pack and rotation is sorted. Ray Stone returns to the side this week. Kurt Donahue, off the bench in that 14 role excites me as well for the Dolphins. And Hammer coming off a sensational performance. So, yeah, again, another 13-plus game for me. I think the Dolphins will get a big win here against the Titans, who I think are going to have one of the bigger fall-offs of this season without Tino. I think it could be spoon areas for me. Warriors and Knights, the line is 6.5. Wins at the venue. The Warriors at home win 57%. The Knights away in New Zealand win 35% of games. What are we thinking here? I think the Knights have really started quite poor and definitely not how we thought they were going to start. Mace, we'll start with you this time.
Yeah, look, they showed an improved effort last week. The halves pairing, I thought, looked a little bit better. I think we were both pretty keen on the Wars. Like in the last few games, they're still not putting 80 minutes football together. That would be my only issue with backing them at the minors. But I think they're dead set an 18-point better side.
Yeah.
I think when we see them put it together, they could put a cricket score on a team. It's just, I want to say 80 minutes of football. I think they're starting to get, hopefully they're getting fit enough and they're getting close to doing it. I think they win, and I think they should win comfortably.
Das?
Yeah, like I said, I think they need to really focus on getting the 80 minutes out. Like if they get the 80 minutes out, they can match anyone, for sure. Knights, I don't rate them this year. I think they've been quite poor. Whereas there's a lot of hope. Last year they gave us a lot of hope, didn't they? So Warriors at home, I think they're going to win, and I think they'll win quite well. Yeah, 13 plus.
If the Knights are any chance, I think it's got to be through KP. He's just got to be the guy that really stands up. He's had some pretty big games, even though the Knights haven't looked to get it all sorted. But the thing is, the Cogger move, it didn't really change anything for me. They were still making errors. They still looked like their discipline wasn't all there. I could have kept Hastings in and been quite happy. And then Hastings goes to New South Wales Cup, 6 try assists.
He
looks
sound impressed
unbelievable.
about that.
Yeah, it could be. I think there might be
rider.
something. There could be, something a bit deeper than they're telling us. But
I think it's a big difference though. New South Wales Cup to like first grade. It's all well and good to shine down there. They've got some issues at that club at the moment. I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Warriors do win here, and I'm liking RTS back at fullback. The glimpses we saw of him at fullback last week were outstanding. He looks so good coming into the season. Cherry ripe, even at centre. Just looks like he's been playing looks like he's never left really. So yeah, Warriors for me. Sharks and Raiders. The line is 5.5. Wins at this venue. The Sharks win at home 57% compared to the Raiders at Sharks home 45%. I think an underdog bet here is the way to go. I don't think the Sharks win this game. I'll hear from you guys first, and then.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go the Raiders here. I think that they showed a lot of promise the first few games. Sort of fell off last week. Sharks, I don't know. I just can't get excited about the Sharks. They look, it's not a game that I'm going to be rushing to watch, but I think I'm going to go the Raiders definitely with a 5.5 start.
Das?
I feel like the Raiders are going to be a little bit like the Dolphins of last year. They started so much better than everyone thought they would start, obviously missing key players. And then I think the wheels will fall off, especially once you get to around 10 and beyond, then you start getting into deeper into your 40. The Sharks were fucking abysmal last week. Yeah. Absolutely abysmal. I can't imagine them putting 2 performances like that.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have been slammed all week, and they're going to be massive improvers.
I
honestly think they will beat the Raiders. I think they'll beat them by 16 points.
Yeah, it's a big. Look, I don't know if it's a big call or not because they are the favourites, obviously, in this game. I don't know. I think that the Raiders do win this one. I've liked the footy I've seen from them. Obviously, the Sharks are missing most of their forwards in this game as well. Tommy Hazelton and Oregon Gafusi are the starters. They've got a few young guys on the bench, obviously missing Toby Rudolph, Dale Finucane, who's one of their big enforcers as well. Royce Hunt, Braden Hammer-Nuele, all of their main forwards are out. Going up against Joey Tarpanay, going up against Josh Papali'i, who had a blinder last week. Corey Horsburgh set to return as well into this one. Morgan Smithies, one of the better recruits from the Super League that coming over to the NRL that I've seen, especially as a forward. I think that the Raiders I reckon it could go the other way. I think the Raiders could get, 13 plus.
Yeah, wow.
Really. I think that the Raiders could have a big win. The only thing for me is Rapana out the back. His ball playing is the only thing I'd sort of critique about him at fullback. I think, going into the rest of the season, it's not a sustainable option because obviously it sounds like he's retiring at the end of the year. So I don't know. In terms of this game, though, I'm going to go the Raiders. I think they do get it done convincingly. I don't like the Sharks in this one without a lot of their key forwards. Eels and Tigers, the Monday game, obviously the line being 6.5. The win at this venue for the Eels at home is 63%. The Tigers, 34% at Eels home. Again, I could see an upset here. What are we thinking?
I'm sticking with the home side. I think they come from a far better form line against Manly. Yes, they do miss Mitchell Moses. I just think they've got the better side. You've got Sevo back. Their win rate at home, the way they step up at home, it's like Manly at rookie. I think you've just got to be very, very careful of certain home teams, and the Eels are one of them. I'm not super confident, but I still think they can cover the 6.5.
I mean, I've been impressed with Lockie Galvin as well for the Tigers. I think that the way that he's come into the season, I mean, an 18-year-old playing with so much confidence, looks like he's played 100 games of first grade, the way that he carries himself and, coming from the juniors, particularly over the past few years for the West Tigers, who have been quite successful. He is used to winning tight games. He is used to winning a lot of games too. He's had a very successful run right up to first grade. Wigs me out a little bit that a bloke younger than me is playing first grade and absolutely killing it too. But yeah, I mean,
do you feel old, Les?
I do a bit.
I want to touch on the Tigers. I want to say they will definitely not finish with the wooden spoon. Yeah. I think they actually look like a football team last week.
In the past, you've always questioned their effort, but I thought their effort was there. Obviously, Benji's getting a good reaction, and I think Benji's...
They reckon he only gets to training 3 days a week.
Well, it's working, isn't it?
It is. The system works, isn't it?
It's like with me, I used to only really train 3 times a week. But
just leave Benji alone from 5 to 8.
Yeah, I think the Eels are going to win. Obviously, Moses out. He's going to hurt them. His kicking game's been outstanding the last couple of weeks. Tigers... they were really good last week, but I'm going to have to see, obviously, more from them, see if they can get that consistency. But, yeah, Eels for me.
Eels for you? Look, I'm going to go for the Tigers in this one. As I said, Galvin, it's a good omen for you guys, I know. But, yeah, Galvin, his direction as well, plus Jareem Buller, playing really well. While a lot of punters aren't really talking about it too much, Jareem Buller's been really impressive to start the year, and his stat line is very consistent. John Bateman, his effort areas in the front, on the edge, combined with Caesar, who looks quite good, with Galvin as well. It looks to be that perfect match there that they're going to keep for the rest of the year now. I think that the Tigers, things are on the up and up, and with Stefano Utskamanu as well, getting back to Origin form really last week. I don't know. I think it could be a tight one.
He sounds very confident for a bloke who's still unknown.
Yeah, look, listen, you got to be confident when you're in my little situation, don't you? You got to fucking throw the line out and hope you catch something.
I wish Demetrio was as confident as you this week.
Oh, I wish he was as well, mate. Fucking hell. Let's get into our Scrum multis. For me this week, I'm going to go for the Roosters head-to-head. I'm going to go for the Seagulls head-to-head. And I'm going to go for the Warriors head-to-head. Just picking games, as I said, chucking the line out, seeing if I catch anything. Hopefully we go all right. And then I'm going to chuck a bit of a Smoky in there. And you've got to chuck the Smokies in there as well, just to add a bit of value. The Tigers to get the start, 6.5, $6.32. Beautiful little multi for me this weekend. Hopefully gets up. Mace,
what about you? Does that get you out after the previous weeks?
I fucking hope so. I do. I hope so.
He's looking nervous. Look, the Sharks let me down last week. It was the only league that went down. I am going short, but I think these 3 games will get home. Manly head-to-head at the $1.35. New Zealand at the $1.40. And the Sharks at the $1.55. It's $2.92 the multi.
Love it. Das?
Well, my multi got up last week.
Yeah, it did too.
Pat yourself on the back. Come on.
It's the first one I've ever got in my life.
Probably because you chucked a few lines in there.
Yeah, a couple of lines. Yeah. Now this week I'm going to mix it up. This week I'm going to go 3 anytime try scorers. So my first one's Latrell, anytime 2:45. The second one, I've let this bloke down my whole life. Now,
is your dad playing?
No, another family member, Joey.
We can tell who
So
the
I'm
favourite
going-
brother is, mate.
Yeah, so I'm
Fucking hell.
going Joey. Anytime I think if he gets a quick play the ball in the line, he's always trying to get over from dummy half there. So it's $5.90, and then Roger Tuivasa in the Warriors game at $2.45, and that's a multi of $35. So
Great value there. Unreal value. A new little segment too for you guys, brought to you by CrossBet, is LEZ'S Try Scorer Bingo. We pick 5 try scorers. If 3 of the 5 try scorers get up, you win. It is an unreal multi that you can get on CrossBet under the BTFU hub. LEZ'S Try Scorer Bingo this week. Dream Buller from the West Tigers, Tom Travojevic from the Manly Seagulls, Dallin Watene-Zelezniak from the New Zealand Warriors, and then in a same game multi-feature, I've got Valentine Holmes and Jeremiah Nanai to both score a try. Talk about value, $65.81.
Well, you're good at getting like 3 and 4 legs of a multi. You're a chance.
Yeah, exactly. At least I can get the first 3 home. But 65.81 is the LEZ'S Try Scorer Bingo for this week. And obviously, as we said before, our good friends of CrossBet have chucked them all into the BTFU hub. Make sure you go straight into the BTFU hub on the CrossBet app. 1 click, these multis are on. 1 click. How good is that, guys? They've made it very easy for us. Great to have you on.
Do it.
You might, yeah, exactly. Thanks for hopping on again this week, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. Hopefully we get a bit more luck this week.
All right. See you next week.
See you then.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on screen or visit the website.